Hi, welcome. It's been about a year since I've uploaded a video. I think maybe actually more than a year. And I'm coming back with a TBR of all things, but you know, it is what it is. Hi, my name's Mariah, and today I'm going to be telling you about my October TBR. I'm very excited for it. I'm reading a ton of like spooky books, and I'm participating in the Trick or Treat-a-thon. It's a monthly readathon with a ton of hosts. I'll link the Twitter down in the description. But it's just fun. I was planning on only reading like spooky books this month anyways, so yeah. Some of these prompts, or like the books that I used to fill these prompts, are a bit of a stretch, but I kind of already had an idea of what I wanted to read for this month, so I just, you know, made it work. So yeah, I have the prompts written down. You can't see it because it's in pencil, but yes, I will jump right into it. So the first prompt is, witch, read a book with a female lead who will probably hex you if you mess with her. This one is a bit of a stretch, which seems weird because there's a lot of books with like badass female protagonists, but whatever, I wanted to read this one. And this is the only thing it fit for. And that is City of Ghosts. I almost said Tunnel of Bones, that's the sequel. City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This is a middle grade. It follows a young girl named Cassidy Blake, who I guess would be considered a strong protagonist. She does have like some powers when it comes to ghosts. I have read this book. So like if you were a ghost and you messed with her, then that would suck for you, I guess. So it fits that prompt. But this is about a young girl named Cassidy Blake who goes around the world with her parents on this like TV show set that they do, where they're pretty much ghost hunters. And her parents are really into like the history of ghosts and stuff, but they can't see ghosts, whereas Cassidy Blake can. In this series, it just goes to like 3 of the most haunted places in the world. This one takes place in Edinburgh. I don't know how to properly say that, but I read it in October of last year and I thought it was really fun, and I want to continue the series, which you will see later that I have the second book on my TBR, but I figured I would reread this one first because I pretty much forgot everything that happened. And the next prompt is, vampire, read a book with a love interest that you shouldn't meet in a dark alley but you want to. For this I actually chose a vampire book, and that is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I own almost all of Renee Ahdieh's books. The only one I don't have is the sequel to this one. So I figured I should, you know, actually read one of her books. And this is her most popular, or the one at least that I hear the most about. It's actually kind of polarizing. A lot of people don't like it and a lot of people do. But it's just a vampire book that takes place in New Orleans. I know it's pretty subtle when it comes to the whole vampire thing, which is cool for, in my opinion, like I kind of like that, but, or I like the idea of that. I haven't read the book, so I don't know if I like it. But I do believe that the love interest is a vampire, or at least one of the love interest. I have no idea if there's multiple or not, but I've heard amazing things about this book from a lot of people whose reviews I trust, so I really am excited to pick this one up. And I've had it for a year. I got it last October, so you know, I need to finally get around to reading it. Next prompt is werewolf, read a book only at night. For that, I decided to go with a graphic novel. Is Witchy by Ariel Slamet Riaz. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that second word correctly, but this is a graphic novel, obviously, about witches, obviously, but in this, the plot of this is that the witches' powers have to do with the length of their hair. So if you have very long hair, the longer your hair is, the more power you have. And I believe that the main character of this has very long hair, so she is considered to be too powerful and is possibly on the run because of that, or she's hiding the fact that her hair is as long as it is. I've heard good things about this. I've heard that it's fun, and that's, you know, kind of what I want from a graphic novel. But I expect it'll be a really short read and I can easily just read it in one sitting at night. Next prompt is Ghost, read a book set in a place you'd want to haunt. And like I said earlier, I wanted to continue on with the Cassidy Blake series, and so my next book is Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab, which is book 2, and it takes place in Paris. I assume that since it's in a completely different place from the original book, or the first book, that it'll follow a completely different storyline. Though there is an overarching storyline that, or a bit of a storyline that started in the first book with Cassidy and her friend Jacob, who is a ghost, that I assume will play out a little bit more in this, which I'm very interested to see where that goes. But just like the first book, I assume this is going to be a really quick and fun read, and I'm excited to continue. Like I said, I love Victoria Schwab. I've read most of her books. She's one of my favorite authors, so I think this will be great. The next prompt is Demon, read a book that has more than one POV, and that's actually the first book that I'm going to be reading because I've already started it, and that's Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. This is the third book in the Diviner series. I started it this past month and put it down because I wanted to use it for this readathon, but I'm about 100 pages into it. It's a pretty long book, but I listened to it on audio, so that makes it go by a lot quicker. This is a pretty popular series, but if you didn't know, this is a kind of horror series that takes place in the 1920s. And the first book follows a supernatural serial killer. And it's pretty creepy. The audiobooks are great. This one follows more of like the overarching plot with the King of Crows, and it does follow like several point of views. There's a whole group of diviners, which are people with powers that are fighting the King of Crows, or are going to. They haven't started doing that yet. But it follows each of their perspectives. I think we're getting more of like Veda's perspective in this, which is good because I actually find her plotline to be the most interesting. But yes, I'm very excited to continue reading this. I have the audiobook out from the library, so I'll be finishing it very soon. Next is Siren, read a book someone has recommended to you. Again, this is a bit of a stretch because I don't really know anybody else IRL that reads or have any like internet friends who could recommend me anything. So I just chose Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. I used this as a recommendation from book Twitter because everybody recommends it on there. But this is a again, everybody's talking about this, but this is essentially a book about a trans boy who his family doesn't really accept his identity and is trying to prove himself as a brujo. So he tries to summon a spirit or a ghost. He's trying to find the ghost of his cousin, but he accidentally summons some other ghost, like a guy that he went to high school with that was kind of like a bad boy, I think. And things go on from there. Other than that, I don't know too much of the plot, but I follow Aiden Thomas on Twitter and I love them. So I'm very excited to get to this. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I'm very just ready to read it. Then we have Faye, read a book that you've always been too scared to pick up. And for that one, I have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. The reason I've been afraid to pick this up is because it's over 500 pages and it's an adult book and it's dark academia, which is something I've never read from before. Technically, I guess I read Ninth House, which might be considered dark academia, but it's more fantasy. So I'm not sure if that counts. I've also heard great things about Donna Tartt. I expect this will be kind of a dense book, so hopefully I can get through this in the month of October. It's also the October pick for the late night book club. It's some sort of book club, so I wanted to read it for that. I don't typically watch the live shows. I don't know. I like to feel like I'm a part of stuff, so I read the stuff even if I don't participate. It's weird, but yeah. Like I said, this is a dark academia. I read the synopsis on the back, but it's extremely vague, so I don't know what it's about other than like pretentious college students who are mad at the world. I think somebody gets murdered. I don't know if that's like at the beginning of the book and it's a mystery. I actually don't know if that happens at all. I could be getting this mixed up with Weaver Villains, which is also a dark academia, but yeah. I'm going into this pretty blind, but a lot of people whose reviews I trust really like this book, so I'm hoping I'll like it too. Last prompt is Zombie. Read a book with that features a disaster, and this is probably the biggest stretch of them all because I picked Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. I read the first book last year and I really have been wanting to continue since because I liked the characters a lot. There isn't really a disaster in this. It starts with a murder, which is disastrous for the guy that was murdered. So that's what I'm saying. So that will fit this prompt. The first book in this series is Stalking Jack the Ripper, and it's about this girl who works in forensic science solving the murder of Jack the Ripper. Honestly, it was pretty predictable, but I really liked the characters, like the main girl and the love interest. Essentially, I'm here for the romance. But yeah, I've been wanting to continue this ever since, so it's about time that I'm getting around to it. And obviously this one is has to do with Dracula, sort of. I did read the first chapter, and like, if I'm remembering that correctly, the guy who was murdered was staked like a vampire, but obviously I don't think this is supernatural in any way. It's more of a real life murder situation. Also takes place in Romania and is inspired by Vlad the Impaler rather than the vampire Dracula, so yeah. Real life murder, not supernatural, but still. I'm excited to continue with this because I really do want to see more of the main character and the love interest. I just want to see their story because it was cute. And that's my entire TBR for this month. I don't really read fast, so I don't know if I'll even finish all those books. I think that's like 8 or 9. 8 books. I don't know if I'll finish those all, but if I do, then that'll be great. If I do and I have time to pick up more stuff, I might find things that fit prompts a little better. For example, I think I actually have it right here. This Is Not a Test by Courtney Summers. It's not really a Halloween type book, but it is a zombie book, so it would fit the disaster prompt way better than Hunting Prince Dracula. I also want to read Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. I don't really know the plot of that, but I do believe it has like on-page ace rep, and there is also an ace readathon happening this month. I'm not really participating in it, obviously, but it would be nice to at least read one book that has ace rep in it. Other than that, I'm slowly but surely rereading the King Chronicles by Rick Riordan. That's not really spooky, but it is something that I started doing last month and would like to continue. Maybe not in October, but if I have time, then I'll continue it. Other than that, I don't know what else I would pick up, so that is my TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!